Tuesday, 880 Shulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming shir or more of Shulchan Yomi, please contact directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Simon Tuf Kuv Science, C Vav to Seafood Base. It's only if the wood fell into the oven. The mistame shulgan can add say heter. When we assume he also has permitted wood, as mutar rabos alem, then you can add on. She's about the world. They should be negated in the majority. I'm novel shalobatan or below taroba say tzimachrim. But if they fell not into the oven and without additional wood, also harbos, you're not allowed to add more. So the assumption is, and it's a big assumption, a big okimta, to say that they're already atze heter in the oven. Mr. Sharatim writes that it's clear from the Rashba that according to this opinion, it's talking about where the Isser is not nikr. If you recognize the Isser, it's not called mixin. It doesn't work to be added afterwards. It seems a big chumrah. Tmihani, Rosh was astounded. I feel enough for the Tochat Tan or even fell into the oven. Came like a rov heter, since it's not a majority of permitted wood. I dine have a kula Isser. Doesn't matter. You have some permitted wood there. It's still cool. Like it's entirely usher because it's the rove is not permitted. He calls them mutarabos. Nevertheless, you're allowed to add more. You can gam shalobaton or nami. So what does it make if it's an oven or outside the oven? If in front of my onto the tanu yesh tamid atzim in an oven is always wood. The reason why the Gemara gives a case where it falls into the oven, it's for a different reason. The Ishalo that when it falls not in the oven, I'd say muksa, Balam Baro, who's going to compel him to take muksa wood and they eat them in a majority. Take wood which is not muksa. Okay. But Arukh writes that the poskim from the poskim it's clear there's no section where they fell into the oven or somewhere else. So the reason why in an oven, the reason why Gemara puts up in case of oven because you have to use it. You have to use it. You can't remove the muktzah because it's muktzah. So you have to use the muktzah. You have to use the oven. So what choice do you have? I would say now let's move them from the oven. They shall swim until can't move them. Furthermore, if they're not in the oven, how are you going to bring it into the oven? They're muktzah. But distinguish between when there was some forbidden wood before the forbidden wood fell in, and no forbidden wood. That's astounding. The bracket says here, test is a raya shabim yerodea, not raw. But raya shabim yerodea simitzarik. That's the evidence of Magavron being yerodea. Ain't a raya cloud. It's not evidence all mine should be looked at. Matzashel herich. Matzashel talks about length beneath chaf, and whatever it says docha vein shumrai. There's no evidence on shamaduk. Yamshel shloima paris herkav simon vav mevurmik derenu. Shlomo says Shlomo, which was a rasha, Simon Shinla Avav, work among Avram, Simon say Avram. From Reish Beitzah, and the Stopik was there. He's not sure about this. Ayin Shem Mitzvah here. So the main thing is the bittul, whether it's inside the oven or not inside the oven. That doesn't matter to us. If it's saying Kasva Tuva Shulchan Asim B'Siv Gimel, Osli Kach Eish Ben Eitzim Lachtos Bo Eish. You can't take a piece of wood from among other pieces of wood to rake the coals about throwing in the oven. The Havalei Misakim Mona. You're fixing a vessel. This is the Gemara. Is a tikkun money yesh b'zeh. What are you fixing? The hava is chayeitzim. It's a piece of wood, just like another piece of wood. The Shabbos Shabbos mutukan yoser. When the Shabbos says more fixed. Because they write the avgav lomi taknale. It's not really fixed. If you also it's forbidden. The gzeira shemay avodah tikkun kli. You might come to fix a vessel. But Rosh Beis Hashem, because of the Mexican Misakim, it looks like you're fixing a vessel. The also that's forbidden, but I feel it's dry, the royal asaka, that the piece of wood is suitable to use as fuel itself. And can huchan lakach miyodil erev yontav, unless it's prepared for this purpose before yontav. Lush Shatur v'Shulchan Aruch, nearly the hachi perusha. What they mean to say is the vadek shebora eitzim eitzim. You pick a piece of wood from out of the other piece of wood. Ain't eitzim kistam eitzim. It's not like other pieces of wood. Elu k'ain. Ksas. So like keli, shurei lachtospo kekeli, because you can use it to rake the coals like a vessel. Does that gufa ave ke'ein asiyas kekeli? That itself is like making do keli. Okay. Can't for 8 of riach hadas mechtam. That's why you also can take a piece of wood from the wood pile to use as a bolt for the door. Okay, take them every unless you put that fix it for that purpose from before you have to begin. Sharatzin says Prima Goyim says specifically to choose a long and narrow stick, which is suitable to especially suitable for raking the coals. That's considered like masaki. But to take a piece of wood generically without selecting a specific one, and just on a temporary basis to rake the coals, and now it's not designated permanently for this purpose. That he allows with a dry piece of wood. The Shmuel says that it's enough with if you does it for before Shabbos with Hachana B'Alma, is you prepare for that purpose. Is this going here? Yeah, but even if you didn't fix it for that purpose. In our ovens, we bake on the floor of the oven. So without raking the ashes and the coals, you can't bake. So that's the case. The government is allowed to rake them. Even though you're extinguishing some coals when you're raking them away. Sweeping away is probably a better term here. It's not possible without that. Change what I have here. L'tzorech ochel nefesh. Just like you're allowed to make a fire, to ignite it for personal nefesh. So you're allowed to extinguish a fire. L'tzorech ochel nefesh for the purpose of food. If I raise the kaminiach basa gam it's like you're putting meat on coals, but the meat is certainly going to extinguish some of the coals along the way, which is mutter. That's the custom. Mikomokam never say shefresh been grateful to Chol Yom. There's difference when you make out the ashes on a weekday and on a Yom. The Chol Matbilim my grape screen for Pamalia, but my baby garfin. On a weekday, you dip the rake into water, a lot of water, and then you drag the ashes. Vadai also b'omenzet. This is not permitted. The kain kiwi rab it's extinguishing way too much more than necessary. It's not compelling. You're not compelled to extinguish that much. A garden my grave, you basically use a dry shovel. The garden you offer yafe, and we shovel very well. The gam yesh mechabe, and this case is also mechabe. El shiv sharbeloza, but that whatever is not possible is not possible to avoid. It's a large arm. Go rafe. If you just raked out, it swept out. Keep going back and forth in the verbs here, but you get the idea. And you just sweep out a part of it. The dailo shama pashat tzorech lefos. It's enough there for the bread he needs to make. V'achoshe shemiga pasa mokom shelo go rafe. Yitzorech harecha pasa. You're afraid that the bread might touch the ashes where you did not sweep them out. It's going to burn. Ain't little growth this there. Too bad. Don't rake anymore. So if you sweep it out in one fell swoop, you can do its entire thing. I can guard mitzvah if you stopped in the middle and you were ready, swept that part of it. And then stop. You should not sleep out more. Already has enough place for his baking. Sharatzin says that perhaps to a non-Jew it's permitted. Even though it's a little bit so, you got to pass. Maybe the bread's going to touch the hot coals, which is happening. By you extinguish, you don't say mitoch shushul tzorach uchunam mishlo tzorach, because sharikibu lo tzorach klabi yantif. Being mechaber is never mutter. Mashu echrech is only if it's compelled. He says back as this couple of them again. Wrong. Test. Vein show can ask the king lama hutra bisra gume. How you allowed to put meat directly on coals? So you can roast in a skewer in the air. So you keep it close, so it won't get extinguished. The fire won't get extinguished at all. Yesh I can say that Torah logo is well known to open achilo seinu. Torah tell us how to eat something on the outside. By brave Dana, we have the choice. Lechok v'yotzrei to eat as we please. Some people like meat on coals more. Putting the meat on the coals is absolutely extinguishing it. Them, but they're not permitted. There's a rabbis who wrote the Bisar Gourmet ain't no kibui gomer. There's achar kibui avir miad. They wrote different chap. The extinguishing of the coals by putting raw meat on it is not extinguishing. Because immediately after the meat is taken off, it is flare up. So therefore, it's only like suppression, not like extinguishing. That's Ramban and Ran. They don't mean to say it would be complete extinguishing. It'd be usher. There's no other way to do it. Come over grateful, like sweeping. There's ain't svara cloud. There's no reason, no svara for that at all. You can't be on them. How you going to bake on them? Ian sleek amre. They talk about in terms of a roasting. The efsha b'shmuch is when you can use a skewer or something similar. Brackets, he says, okay, before we leave, heading between the Brea and Perek, so Perek base. Split what he says in Perek base. So Ran says, Avrash Yuchli Medakti, Lo Marab Shah, it's supposed to be Hacker. When I'm particularly saying that I could have roasted it another way, I would guess it's already Medaktikin. But according to the version of the riff, we are Medaktik. So the Mechamas writes, the Razah, She'ef Shah, it's because you can roast without extinguishing. I jump. That's Kushis among everyone, because that's Kushis to more of a do. Yud. V'day shno the sheish mishukasam loshen hazeh. Somebody wrote the following language. Sin tavku beisi v'abak or masha nafilu tzorach achila dafka b'shah shemisakin ochel shayel chabos l'komachay. If you need to prepare food, it's only at the time you're actually preparing the food, not prior to that. That's something I've run. Kavanas and what it means to say so much. Kosav v'shem Rabbeinu Ramah. The Ramah writes there, the mutar chasois ha'esh. You have to cover the fire b'chli or for muchan with a vessel or with prepared dirt. If you don't extinguish it, ayin sham. But if you extinguish it, also mishum the enu kishas tikumacho. Extinguish it also because you're not at that time fixing food. I'm just like the varim to me, but I'm astonished, says Arukh HaShulchan. The shami mayon ogea l'machol shebetanur b'ari amutar. It was relevant to the food in the oven. Definitely be permitted. Ach b'sham akisu kadesh yiskay v'eishes manarok. Covering is only to maintain the fire for a long amount of time. K'nemuchal man see him b'sham. That's different when he concluded over there that the dafka tzorach yontav rishon. It's only for the purpose of the first day yontav. I'm sorry, yontav shehi osur ayin sham. It's also for the purpose of yontav shehi. Later coming also achar zman. Definitely has in mind for after time. Zev vadai lo hutra kibui. In that case, we don't allow him to extinguish it. The vadai the achar zman likas yimachem because. You can just light other fire later on. I will shiva tzorach ochel nefesh, but the extinguishing is the purpose of ochel nefesh. Shita shemuter, it's obviously it's permitted. Avshalo b'shas tikun machal, even if it's not the time you're directly preparing the food. Mogriva satanur kuram afil, just like sleeping out the oven before you bake. That's my melacha. It doesn't be immediately at that time. You have it's manashas at time of the gemorah. The time when the ovens were smaller, outside, and the bread was stuck from the side, tanur in the oven. There was different laws about sleeping out the coals. So Rabbeinu says sleep out. It says if you have some of the lining of the yam which fell in, if you can bake and roast it without sweeping it out. The lace like a pass and bread won't get burnt, or it's sleep, or the roast. Also, go for now. Allowed to meal right back. They shoot metalto, so it's because metalto not for the not for tzarech. Not for tzarech. I'm with ashkifa eish va'efa shabo, but you can tamp down the fire and the ashes, and the kadesh yacholach still be smooth. Plega b'paskan won't touch the bread at all. And that's when even if it were to touch, it wouldn't really burn it. But if the plaster which fell down has enough to burn the bread, atzli or the roast to me and touches them. Low grateful you have even though you could still theoretically bake and roast without sweeping out the coals. But nevertheless, since it would get burnt. Mutzah gofo, you can scrape it away. The chashi tilt to the tzarch, it's moving something for its purpose. You can scrape away the ashes. It's moving there for the purpose. For a purpose. But that is only there. Obviously, medapkin paspis. See where they put the bread around. They ain't so the garfam element. When all you have to do is evidently That's all you have to do is remove any plaster which fell in. After Mishon ovens are different. There's another quote from the Beis Yosef. Yud Beis, Biyad Varim. Now what he means to say is lahashki b'eish v'efer mutar, to tamp down the fire and the ashes mutar, no matter what. I feel like even the bread is not going to burn. Shemini atzad, the bread on the side is not going to burn. Until to be onto, because you're allowed to move, carry fire and ashes on yontif. Mishnah Berurah says still you should not remove the ashes completely out of the oven. Maybe it's Tirchi Yisera. Umay Shefer Cham. It's about where the ashes are hot. For heavy occasions like fire. It's time when it cools down. Also Ashkibo. You can't tap it down to have a muktzah. It's in a muktzah point. When it gets heated up again, then you can move it, and then you can once again move it. Vavrik Shiyei Sham Also Ashkibo do muktzah. There's dirt there, you can't tamp it down because it's muktzah. The other says it's possible that other poskim don't have a way because the meat it's compressed after it was ignited, and the plaster and the pitch are hot. The story about where you tamp it down after it was ignited, and the everything is hot. So then, I guess can't tamp it down. It's no worse than hot ashes which are suitable to roast an egg, etc., unless that the plaster in the oven was from yesterday, during twilight when it was cold, and then it got a name mukta, and it's off from alma because of the iskatzoy. But otherwise, it would be allowed to move the fire and the ashes. Where was this from? I'm not even sure it's supposed to be that. I think so. Yeah, plastic fell into the oven. Totally be Pascal. There's no way it's going to ruin the bread. Because you can roast and bake on a skewer below grateful without sweet it out. It's not going to be burnt for him. And be the yasam when they touch latiach the plaster does also go over, which gives you also to move it. But by touching kamshum chiruch means that whatever you're baking or roasting is not going to touch the ashes. But if it's going to touch the ashes, even though you could do it without removing the ashes. That's having that the plastic is going to touch it. Nevertheless, you're allowed to see without because likely she got by mischarech, so touch them and come burned. Mutter ne ochel nefesh. That's mutter again because ochel nefesh. The post can write that this is when the plaster fell today or even yesterday, but you didn't know from this. We didn't have time to fix it. But if you had time to fix it yesterday, and you didn't fix it because you forgot, then you can't do the sweeping of the ashes like any other machshir, which could be bod yom, which is also do on Shabbos and Yom Tov.